victims of crimes of sexual abuse and rape. So how would you explain your perspective on that?
The culture of victim blaming in our society. She is herself inviting someone to harass her.
If we talk about his script, represents an inherent disparity. What would be your opinion about it?
Equally, the problem is equally grave when it's done by a man. By either gender is the same thing. It's equally wrong.
Assalamu alaikum नाज़रीन, मैं आपकी होस्ट अर्शिया शुएब ख्वाजा and today I welcome you back to the program Autobiographies. Today I will be in conversation with lawyer and politician Zafar Zulkarnain Sahi. He is a lawyer at Zafar Zulkarnain Law Associates and he has been an MPA for PMLNQ from the tenure of 2008 to 12. Today I will be in conversation with him about the very controversial topic that Khalilur Rahman Qamar, the writer and pseudo-intellectual, sparked about feminism and equality. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Sir, I recently read an article in which you've explained the rape culture and victim blame on people who have been victims of crimes of sexual abuse and rape. So how would you explain your perspective on that?
Well, basically what I believe is that the culture of victim blaming in our society, which is evident from several opinions and views expressed on media, including the social media, I find it to be very incorrect and not in line with the general moral and ethical principles as well as the Islamic principles, which are often made the basis of victim blaming. For instance, people would say that a certain woman is not dressing in accordance with the code, that is the command given by Allah, or she is not behaving or transgressing the commands of Allah, and that is why she herself invites someone to violate her dignity or harass her or rape her. I have always found this argument to be very erroneous and frail, because if you say that if a woman transgresses the commands or violates the commands of Allah, so she is sanctioning you to violate the commands given to you. For me, Islam is a very personal, individualistic religion. Obviously, there are communal aspects to it, but the commands of Allah contained in Quran, when I read the Quran, in my humble and probably erroneous opinion, someone might disagree, I think the Quran is addressed to me as it is to you or anyone else. So the commands therein, if I am a man, if I am a lawyer, if I am a father, if I am a son, the commands contained therein are for me individually. They are not, I am not going to go into the domain of the commands given to women. If I am a man, I will not see what are the commands given to the women and then I take up the responsibility of telling them and ensuring that they follow it. My job is to ensure that I follow the commands given to me. So if a woman is transgressing, for instance, it is her job to interpret the Quran, the commands in her own life, and it is for her to follow, and it is for Allah to judge if he is doing the right thing or not. If I take up the responsibility of telling her and then ensuring that she follows those commands, and then ensuring that if she doesn't, then I don't follow mine. So that is a very stark contradiction, and it is a huge blunder sort of a thing for a person who is trying to follow Islam. So when you blame a victim for transgressing the commands of Allah and then inviting someone to transgress the commands given to him, it is a frail argument. Aapki responsibility as a man in the society is to ensure that you are following whatever is given to you to do, and as a member of a society, you are protecting everyone else from harm, including women. So my job is not to ensure that you are dressed properly or not, or whether you are behaving properly or not. My job is that you are not threatened by me or other members of the society that I can stop or I can control or I can have any sort of influence on. So basically, yes, I don't give any single point of credence to this argument, Keji. If a victim is dressed inappropriately, in your opinion, she is herself inviting someone to harass her.
Sir, there are a lot of men who take up the responsibility of telling women what to do and what not to do, even though there are certain and a lot of commands for men which take credence over for the ones which are prescribed to women. Why don't men take up the responsibility of telling other men, especially such men who talk about feminism and equality, to do? This is
not a gender specific problem. Our society, probably even beyond our society, in the world as well, there must be several other cultures where it is a habit and a norm to intervene in other lives, interfere in the lives of another. Because what I believe is one benefit of such activity is, in our country we have a lot of free time. So mostly what you see in your daily activity and people behaving in ways and interacting in ways, you realize that probably they have 26 out of 24 hours free on their hands. So they have a lot of free time which they need to pass. The other aspect is that by judging someone and by demeaning them in your own mind or in front of the others, you somehow build self-superiority in perception of yourself. Like if I am smoking and someone tells me that smoking is not right, neither socially, not ethically, or even religiously. So instead of trying to quit smoking, I'll find the worst vices in others. Okay, ठीक है, I smoke, but he's even worse than me. So that is why we intervene in other people's lives and we try to judge them in all our free times, and we try to figure out कि कौन मुझसे ज़्यादा बुरा कर रहा है ज़िंदगी में. I will not try to improve myself, but I'll try to bring everyone else lower than my position.
Self-correction is something which is not perceived by a society.
So it is not gender specific. Men don't specifically, only men do not do this. Women do this as well. We as a society try to find flaws in others to probably cover our own flaws in our own eyes.
So equality is something which is very subjective, and generally people view it as physical equality, or they don't view it as social equality or equality in terms of rights. What is your view on it?
Well, equality, again, from Islam, from the commands of Allah, equality, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that everyone is equal. Allah's religion is based on equality. Our constitution guarantees equality.
Definitely.
So equality in theory has always been an inherent part of any society, any communal living, countries, whatever tribes जो पहले होते थे. So equality means equality in rights. Equality does not in the beginning mean equality in duties. Okay, if I believe that men and women are equal, so I would say that if I can change a tire of my car, why can't a woman change the tire of her car? Even though women now can, I have seen several women changing tires of their cars.
Yes.
But because of certain physical limitations or other limitations, if a woman cannot, I'm not going to say that she is not my equal because she cannot physically do the stuff I can. Equality is in rights. If I have a right to choose what profession I want to adopt, if I have the right to choose who I want to marry, if I have the right to choose what I want to do with my day, a woman has the same rights. And that equality is what, in my opinion, feminism is all about. So like intellectual that you mentioned in the beginning, in his interview he was very specific about equality being based on some things that men can do, like kidnapping a woman. So if 5 women cannot kidnap him, which I'm sure they can easily, if they cannot kidnap him, he thinks they are not equal. Well, that is not equality. Equality is if you have the right to blabber whatever you want on media and not be criticized on it, so does a woman. If you have the right to write on a certain topic and then propagate it and then to convert it into a novel or a drama, a woman has the same right. If you have the right to criticize someone from your family or judge her or him and manipulate his decisions, then if that right is yours, then it is also her right. So equality is in the rights. It is never in the duties. Secondary आ जाता है उसके बाद, rights के बाद ही consequent duties भी होती हैं. But it does not mean कि if women are asking for equal rights, so there automatically it is to be assumed that they want to perform equal tasks as well, physically and other tasks.
Sir, being a lawyer, do you think that we can justify criminality with notions of equality?
Justify criminality?
With notions of equality, I mean, the intellectual that I mentioned, he said that if women want equality, they can rape men. Rape being an inherent crime of dominance and power, do you think it can ever be justified?
Well, I think not much is to be read into it, that part of his statement, because that part was plainly stupid, like almost all other parts of the interview. But this part was a stupid example, spur of the moment maybe, and he just tried to think of something to say and he thought of the worst possible thing to say. You can never justify criminality by the notions of equality, obviously. So I would not read too much into his interview in general, and particularly this bit.
Sir, if we talk about his script, there is infidelity, but from a very different perspective, and in general infidelity in our society is also from a very different perspective. But the way they're dealt with represents an inherent disparity. If we treat both genders equal. What would be your opinion?
No, but we have to give him the benefit of the doubt and all the team behind that particular program, because you pick a certain specific topic for a script or a movie or a program. So you're not going to talk about all the evils in a society. So he chose this particular aspect, infidelity, जो कहते हैं on the part of the woman in the couple. But equally, the problem is equally grave when it's done by a man. So this program may probably they're going to focus on that. If the writer is focusing on that by virtue of his preconceived notions or whatever opinions he holds about the society. But it does not change the gravity of the wrong if it is done by the opposite gender. And what I find most interesting about the script and that एक उसका dialogue है which is very famous, वो जो 2 टके की वाला है. So the popularity, overnight popularity of that dialogue was I tweeted it the other day as well. The popularity of that dialogue is directly proportional to the misogyny in your society.
Definitely, definitely.
A similar dialogue said for a man would not have gained so much popularity. There's something that men wanted to convey through liking and retweeting that dialogue and making memes on it. So it is a sad state of affairs. But to your question, infidelity by either gender is the same thing. It's equally wrong. It's equally wrong.
Sir, you've been a politician and you're quite active in the political spheres. So what would, in your opinion, be one issue which you feel is the core of our...
Well, that is a very close competition between rule of law and education. I've always believed that rule of law and equality before law are two principles that if a state manages to actually enforce and implement in their state, every other wrong and vice will start to begin to vanish. And in the 72 odd years that Pakistan has been in existence, I don't think a single step has been taken towards rule of law or equality. There are injustices every day. People are judged, treated, given benefits and detriments on the basis of their financial and social status. Every day you see fresh examples of it. But education is, I think, if not equally, slightly lesser, but more, a lot of importance is to be given to education, because in our culture, people don't have the ability to analyze. Analytical thinking is neither taught nor encouraged, and they need to learn to think. They need to learn to unlearn, and that is only in a deeper understanding of what education actually is. Learning the alphabets or tables of 2 and 4 and 6 or Urdu poetry and trying to interpret what the poet said 50, 60 years ago, that is not exactly education. What it all is aimed at is widening your horizon and teaching you how to think yourself. I don't think our society is learning that. We don't form opinions, we adopt opinions. And you see that in political discourses, religious discourses, in law, in bureaucracy, every sphere of life you see that people do not form opinions. There is a very small minority of people who are in the habit of reading and analytical thinking. So if the society and the people are not educated properly, you cannot go towards noble goals like rule of law and equality of law. Thus, I think education, rule of law and equality before law, all of them lead to a just society and a better, prosperous society.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for watching our show. We'll be back next week, inshallah.